As the 19th century dawned, more influential Salem citizens arose. Once an employee at Salem's Custom House, Nathaniel Hawthorne began to write new literary masterpieces for the still uncultured country. His Scarlet Letter and House of the Seven Gables are read all over the world. And yes, for those of you not from New England, there really is a House of the Seven Gables that still exists on one of the side streets of Old Salem. I was invited to the House of Seven Gables to produce a video for my Let's Visit show. It was a beautiful July morning in 2022. So let's get started.
Hello, so welcome to the House of the Seven Gables. We're in our little orientation room here where we start our tours. The House of the Seven Gables is also known as the Turner Ingersoll Mansion, and it was built in 1668 by John Turner I and his wife Elizabeth. 3 generations of the Turner family lived here before it was sold to the Ingersoll family. And then the Ingersoll family is how we get our connection to Nathaniel Hawthorne. So one of the Ingersolls was Hawthorne's second cousin, and he would come and visit her here in the house, which is how he was inspired to write his novel, The House of the Seven Gables, published in 1851. The house then took on a whole second life as a literary place, and people started knocking on the door, asking if this was indeed the house from Hawthorne's novel. And so in 1908, a woman who grew up here in Salem by the name of Caroline Emerton purchased the house and spent 2 years renovating it. And we opened in 1910 as a museum and settlement association, providing services of language classes as well as assistance with finding jobs or skills for jobs for the greater Salem community.
These floors, look at the wide boards here. It's unbelievable.
We have some really lovely wide boards, but you'll notice that we don't have any boards that are wider than 2 feet. Any boards that were wider than 2 feet were marked as King's trees and had to be shipped back to England for use in the King's Navy.
And this is the hearth.
Yes, this is the hearth here in the kitchen. The kitchen is restored to look as it would have looked in 1668 when the home was first built.
I lived in an Ipswich house built in 1658 with a similar fireplace. This is the main stairway to the house?
This is the main stairway to the house. So this is, behind you is actually the front door of the mansion. So we bring visitors in the back door and they leave out the front door.
All right, if I turn around, I'll see the front door of the place?
You will indeed.
All right, let's try it. Around and around and around. Oh, there it is. That is the front door of the House of the Seven Gables.
It's actually a very interesting front door.
Why is that?
Because it's a very decorative piece here.
Oh, yeah.
It's got about 500 iron nail heads in it.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, Holly, what is this room? We're on the 3rd floor,
We're
right?
on the 3rd floor. This is the main section of the attic, and this is where you get to see the most original parts of the house. Most of the white oak and white pine board and beam up here is original to the house. So back over in this corner, we have one of the examples of insulation that they were attempting to put into this house. It's horsehair mixed with plaster in this sort of fuzzy section of wall. And then on the other side of the window is our other example. We've got some brick and mortar nogging that you can see just to the right side of the window there.
Well, it must have been effective.
It was somewhat effective.
Somewhat effective, yeah.
They were trying, and they were spending quite a bit of money in order to put all of these really nice building materials into this house.
Then this was a very expensive mansion at one time.
Yes, this was. So it was actually built in sections in 3 different building stages. So the first building stage was 1668, and then 2 years later they added on a little bit onto the northern facing side of the house, and then about 12 years after the first piece of this house was built, they added a very large addition onto the southern facing side of the home.
Now I notice to your left, there's a bunch of bottles up there.
Yes, so
Did they have their own rum or something?
Well, they imported quite a lot of things. So both the Turners and the Ingersolls were making their money in the shipping trade that's right out of Salem Harbor. So they're importing many things such as rum, but also sort of any other goods that you would typically find in your early colonial trade.
They not only traded with England, but they also traded in the Caribbean, is that correct?
Yeah, so actually John Turner I, who built the home, had a cousin who was also named John Turner, who owned a sugar plantation down in Barbados.
Ah, there you go. There's your rum right there.
Yes. So this is a little model of the house. We're currently here in the attic.
Way
this
up
back
there.
little peak, yeah.
Okay.
Or gable.
And then this is one of the gables, right?
Indeed, we are standing in a gable up here in the attic.
This is one of 7.
Yeah.
Okay, what is this room on?
This is the room we call the accounting room.
Oh.
So this is the place of business within the home.
And we're on what floor?
We're on the 2nd floor now.
Okay. So the business was run here?
Yeah, so this is one of the places within the home that the Turners, the Ingersolls would come and work on any sort of accounts or shipping things. And there was a wharf that came with the house called Turner Wharf, and it stuck right off the end of the street that we're on here onto the harbor. So ships that they own can basically come right up to their front doorstep.
Now I'm fascinated by this wallpaper.
Yes, so this is our Diana print wallpaper. We were doing some renovations in here not too long ago, and we had to take a few boards out of the wall. And we were peeling back layers of paint and wallpaper, and this is one of the patterns that we found when we were doing that renovation. So a company out in New York recreated and installed this wallpaper for us, and this is what the room looked like at one point in time.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And what room is this?
So this is the great chamber. This is basically the master bedroom of the home. And it was part of that 12-year later addition once the Turners had made a little bit more money in the trade. So the bedroll back here is one of the tools we use to talk about unfree labor here at the Gables. So during the time when the first generation of Turners were living in the house, there was at least one indentured servant working on the property. Her name was Joan Sullivan, and she had come over from Ireland to be indentured to the Turners, meaning she had a period of time where she had to work for free, but then at the end of her contract, the Turners owed her some sort of land or money in order for her to make her new life here in the colonies. But by the time the second generation of Turners are in the home, we know of at least 5 enslaved people who were living and working here on the property. And their names were Titus, Louis, Phyllis, Rebecca, and Jane. And they were enslaved people of African descent who had no end in sight to their unfree labor for them or for their children.
That's sad.
It is very sad, but it's also a reality of having houses like this. There's no money to build a house like this without a trade system that relies upon the enslavement of millions of people as a base of this trade route.
That even makes it more sad.
And of course, houses like this are so labor intensive that they just don't function without the work of these indentured and enslaved people.
Now, Holly, is that the kind of hat you would have to wear at night?
Yeah, so that's a cap. So it's something you would wear inside the house. You might wear it at night, you might not, but you would have to put a bonnet on over it or some other sort of outer hat when you're going out and about during your day.
And for the baby?
Yes, a little cot for the baby. Families were living on top of each other. Nobody really got their own bedroom in the house.
I love the views from the windows.
Yes, so you'll notice that the ceilings in here are actually quite high and the windows are pretty large. And it's because they had made so much money in the trade by the time they added this addition that they didn't really care how expensive it was to try and heat these rooms with so much firewood.
Now, out of this window, what is that body of water there?
That is Salem Harbor. So it's the Atlantic Ocean, and you can see Marblehead on the other side there.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah.
Now I noticed that there are several portraits above the fireplaces.
Yes.
Who are these people? Do anyone know?
This is John Turner III. He was the last of the 3 John Turners to live here in the house. But he also lost the entire Turner fortune.
Oh.
Right in that corner.
This has got to be the main room of the house.
Yeah, so this is the parlor. This is part of that 12-year later addition. And it said that John Turner I always wanted a house with a parlor, so he made sure to add one on. And this is your main entertaining space in the home.
Of course, yeah. It has a dining table.
It's probably a card table, actually.
Card table, okay.
Card table, and then a little place to have some after-dinner treats, but you'd be having your main meal in the dining room, a lot closer to the kitchen.
So this is for treats only.
Yeah, light snacking, probably tea times in here.
And for entertainment, we have a harpsichord.
It's a full piano. It's
It
a
is.
very early 1800s piano made in Boston. And above the piano is a portrait of Nathaniel Hawthorne, who of course wrote the novel The House of the Seven Gables.
And you say his house is here now?
His house, yes, the house that he was born in was moved here to the property in 1957. 1957.
Okay. Let's take a quick look at another house in the complex. This was Nathaniel Hawthorne's birthplace. I love that door.
Yes, this is a very fun door because it's one of the really great examples of this house being functional while showing off. So,
Oh my,
you take a look, this is the bar.
that's a surprise. I expected a room to be there.
Yeah, no, so this is the bar. This is where you get to both store and display all of your expensive imported goods.
Now, there's one matching it on the other side. Is that fake?
That is fake because this is Georgian style
Right.
paneling.
Balance, balance, balance.
Everything must be symmetrical.
Beautiful. So this is the dining room.
Yes, this is the dining room for the house. This is in that original part of the home that was built in 1668. But it's been restored to a later date than the kitchen was restored to. So it's more in the style of the late 1700s, early 1800s.
Is this called a sideboard or a buffet?
Yes.
Yes, both.
I'm not exactly sure what our official term is, but I can find out. So this is a Hepplewhite style serpentine sideboard circa 1780.
Probably made in the Boston area or England.
It could have been made here in Salem, but was likely made by a Beverly cabinet maker.
Oh.
So one of the most special things here at the Gables is actually a fictional space that Caroline Emerton added when she turned this place into a museum. And it's quite a bit of a secret here. If you've been here before, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. But in this cabinet, where you used to store firewood and you have some warming ovens built into the side of the fireplace, it looks pretty inconspicuous, but actually...
Nice firewood storage, yes.
Yes, but actually...
Well, go ahead in. Not much room in that little closet.
Yeah, if you know where to pull, though...
Oh, my goodness, what is this?
You get to see our secret staircase.
Wow. All right, let's go. This is scary.
Yes, it is not for everyone. And if you do come and tour here, you never have to go up these stairs.
I can see why. But we're going to give it a try.
Yes.
I've done it before in my lifetime, but so this is the second time. Probably 60 years ago. Oh my word.
Yeah, it does a bit of a switchback on you.
Tell me, Holly, why was this here?
So, this was added by our founder, Caroline Emerton, once again for lovers of Hawthorne's novel.
It wasn't original to the house?
Not as far as we can tell.
It's creaky.
It is indeed. You can't sneak around anywhere in this house.
I don't know if I'm the oldest one ever to climb that, but I did climb it. Is this a secret room now?
So this room is actually part of the attic. It's the attic garret. But when the house was first turned into a museum, this would be staged as a bedroom and called Clifford's bedroom. Clifford is a character from the novel The House of the Seven Gables.
Okay.
And there's a scene where he mysteriously appears from the third floor bedroom into the dining room, and no one can figure out how he got there.
We know.
So now we know, and if you come on tour, you can experience the secret passage for yourself.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah.
I know my viewers will enjoy this.
Okay.
And I'm sure they'll want to come here and do it for themselves.
Well, I hope they do. We're open throughout the summer and the fall, 10 to 6, 7 days a week, so.
You're huffing and puffing like I
I
am.
know. It's a little tight in there.
It is, yes.
It's never quite my favorite, but
Do you have to do that at every tour?
It depends on if everybody goes up. If everyone goes up, then I do.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to go up the main staircase, then I go up the main staircase with them.
So now we're going to take the easier way out.
Yes, we're going to head back into the main part of the attic over here.
Oh, we've been in this room before.
We have indeed.
And we've done our circuit.
Yeah, we're seeing
And
just
where does
about
that stairway go?
So the smaller
roof?
steps, go back to inside one of the other gables. And then the steps that you're seeing right now, they do lead up to roof access for maintenance. We've got a very large roof here at the gables.
Yes, you do. Holly, I want to thank you very, very much. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much for coming and visiting us today.
And I hope the people that watch this will come and meet you.
I hope so too. We're always happy to welcome folks here at the Gables.
Thank you. Now, this is kind of a stupid question, but what's your job here?
Oh, to tend to the gardens, keep them in shape and looking beautiful.
And that they do, my goodness.
Thank you. Robin tells us what to do.
And you do it.
We do it. Yeah,
Sounds like a plan.
yeah.
Any sunflowers?
No
No
sunflowers.
sunflowers. Everything else.
Yeah.
You got a beautiful scene out there,
Oh, isn't
Salem Harbor.
Isn't it beautiful?
Hi there, this is Dave Welsh, your host for the Let's Visit show. Today we're going to visit a rather strange place. We're going to visit Salem, Massachusetts at Halloween, so stay tuned. The history of Salem is long and exciting. It all started in the summer of 1626. when Roger Conant came down from Gloucester, Massachusetts, and found on the banks of the river Nomkeg an Indian fishing village. Nomkeg in Indian meant comfort haven, so he renamed the place Salem, which comes from the Hebrew word shalom, meaning peace, and that became the Salem of today. The first of Salem's European settlers were English. They were a strong, fearless, and religious people, not quite ready for the harsh New England winters they were forced to endure. Their first homes were nothing more than straw huts, which, although well insulated, had a bad habit of picking up sparks from the stone fireplaces and catching on fire. As the 17th century wore on, their homes became more substantial, now made of sawn wood, with the most lived-in parts of the homes facing southeast to use the warmth of the sun. They were an industrious people who raised crops, fished in the nearby Atlantic Ocean, and planted vegetable and herb gardens just outside their front doors. Having endured the hardships of 17th century living in New England and the debilitating witch trials of 1692, Salem residents entered the 18th century age of enlightenment with renewed vigor and spirit, and indeed it turned into a century of prosperity for them. Salem became a major fishing, trade, and shipbuilding mecca for the new colonies. Thanks in part to the East India Company and Salem's intrepid and entrepreneurial sea captains, Salem became the 6th largest city of the country. Spurred on by the newfound wealth, the local merchants built magnificent homes. Architects such as Samuel McIntyre grew to fame by introducing the new federal style of building. Salem has today one of the greatest collections of federal-style architecture in the world. Much of the wealth of the new United States was centered here in Salem, along with a very prestigious upper class. Elias Derby was a very successful Salem merchant whose house manifested his successful import-export business. As the 19th century dawned, more influential Salem citizens arose. Once an employee at Salem's Custom House, Nathaniel Hawthorne began to write new literary masterpieces for the still uncultured country. His Scarlet Letter and House of the Seven Gables are read all over the world. And yes, for those of you not from New England, there really is a House of the Seven Gables. It still exists on one of the side streets of Old Salem. Another of Salem's residents was Alexander Graham Bell, who worked on the telephone in a rooming house where the YMCA now stands. But you're probably not still watching this program for a history lesson. Let's get to Salem at Halloween. Introduced by Salem's Samantha the Witch statue, we'll go to the kickoff of the Halloween season with the early October grand opening parade.
Hi, good evening once again, everybody. Dave Neville, along with Claudia Schubert, aka Maid Marian tonight. I am somebody from a time long ago here in Salem, but we are both here to enjoy tonight's Haunted Happenings Parade. It is the 10th annual Haunted Happenings Parade. And that first car, I believe that is Erin Murphy, our Grand Marshal, that we're looking at right there.
Yes, probably on the monitor. You might be right.
Yep.
Yes, that is Erin Murphy.
The band is just coming by us now.
And
Let's try to listen. Let's listen in to the Salem High School Marching Band.
of Aaron Murphy.
Hi, Salem. I'm happy to be here.
Push it, it's ready to go, right? Yep.
Who do we have here? Oh, I see. Here we have, this is Percy Weasley. Of course, that's not the name of the actor, but that is the name of the character.
This parade brings together all the city school children and their parents and has become a nighttime tradition in Salem. This has to be the only parade in which hearses play an important role.
Here we have the trolley again with all the Harry Potter VIPs.
The Witching Hour, a Harry Potter symposium, has chosen Salem for its second annual convention. Over 1,000 fans from all 50 states and 6 foreign countries are welcome visitors to the city. Let's take a peek at Madame Evangeline's Muggle fashion show.
Okay, now, what's your name?
I'm Gidget,
And Gidget, where are you from?
Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
It's probably the only Oklahoma city we have is in Oklahoma.
Yeah,
It's
probably
like
so.
Boston, like Mass, you know, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Now, what brings you to Salem?
The Witching Hours Harry Potter Convention.
And you're a Harry Potter fan, obviously.
Big one, yes.
Now, what's this outfit you're wearing?
I'm a muggle.
What is a muggle?
Somebody who doesn't have any magical powers, doesn't know the wizarding world exists.
I see. And
Yeah.
you're totally matched.
Exactly. This is how wizards think muggles dress.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Evening, darlings. Thank you, everybody, so much for attending my beautiful Muggle and Wizard Costume Appreciation Show. The bright color usage will make any young gentleman proud to be seen with her. Thank you, Rupert. Next up, we have Matilda Wormwood, captain of the wizard ship, the Hurricane, and a total wench, apparently. Is sporting the latest in sea witch wear, a wind-torn skirt, bodice ensemble with cloak, perfect for raiding muggle ships or romantic moonlit walks off the plank. Ah, yes. My apologies, I seem to have gotten out of order. Slappy the War Mage, dressed in a very bold ensemble. Shimmer, hide, vesta, and pants ensemble, completed with a Bitch Witch t-shirt. Shimmer. Tracy Schmanter's Luna Lovegood, complete Quidditch game against Slytherin. I particularly adore the ratish earrings. Notice the ever so popular Quibbler handling upside down. It helps one decipher runes, you know. Next we have the absolutely...
Well, we have with us now the quintessential Harry Potter, is that correct?
Yes, that is.
Very good. Now, how long have you been in this outfit?
All day, actually.
All day, very good. But you're not really a Harry, are you?
No.
No, where you come from?
Hawaii.
Hawaii? That's a long trip to make. Is this your first trip to Salem?
Yes, it is.
Oh, well, that's great. You know, this is going to be on around Halloween time. We're going to be visiting Salem at Halloween. That's a real great time, but you're at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
So what's it like to be Harry Potter?
Oh, it's neat. People are recognizing me all across, all around the streets.
Great. And how long have you been a fan?
Oh, gee, since the third book came out?
The third book
Yeah.
came out. Well,
We're in Salem now, in front of the old town hall, and we have with us Molly. And Molly, you are a ghost hunter?
Right, I'm a licensed ghost hunter with the International Ghost Hunter Society. I became a certified professional ghost hunter back in 1999 while still living in New Orleans, Louisiana.
Now, ghost hunter, it's obvious a ghost hunter hunts ghosts, but I mean, exactly what do you do?
Well, I'm a scientific investigator. I use EMF detectors, infrared non-contact thermometers, voice-operated digital recorders, and
Well,
cameras.
you're more technical than I am here.
More cameras with high-speed film, and we physically document either recording their ghost voices or with photography actually film them. I have a whole display at the Spellbound Museum of my ghost
Which
photos.
is right across the street, which we'll
Yeah.
probably visit in a minute. Now tell me, have you done anything in Salem itself?
Oh yes, our tour, the ghost hunt tour, the vampire ghost hunt tour, I've actually been inside every single building on the tour, including the jail and the burned up jailkeeper's house and the haunted graveyard at night, and I have caught ghost images on film from all those locations.
Fantastic.
So we take our tour groups to those places, so it's really a ghost hunt, not just some schlock ghost tour.
Right.
It's a real ghost hunt, and I've already investigated all the spots.
Thank you very much.
My
Appreciate
pleasure.
it.
Happy Halloween.
Salem is probably more famous, or should I say infamous, for the Salem witch trials of 1629. 19 people lost their lives in this tragedy. Let me take you now to a recreation of those witch trials done in downtown Salem by Gordon College students.
Since the turn of this new year have fallen under the evil hand of witchcraft.
But the devil is working and in league with witches.
Yes, we do believe that the witches torture the faithful in several gruesome ways.
Salem, April 19th, 1692. There being complaint made before us this day by John Putnam Jr. of Salem Village, for himself and also for ye his neighbours. Complaint is made against Bridget Bishop, the wife of Edward Bishop, for high suspicion of sundry acts of witchcraft, committed upon the bodies of Anne Putnam, Mercy Lewis, Abigail Williams, Mary Walcott, and Elizabeth Hubbard of Salem Village, whereby great hurt and great damage hath been done to the bodies of these said persons who crave justice. These and ye have been herewith summoned to the home of Lieutenant Nathaniel Ingersoll for an examination relating to this complaint. All rise!
Good wife Bishop, what do you say? You stand here charged with sundry acts of witchcraft committed upon the bodies of Anne Putnam, Mercy Lewis, and others.
I am innocent. I know nothing of it. I have done no witchcraft.
You are here accused by 4 or 5 for hurting them. What do you say to that?
I never hurt these persons in my life.
Proceed.
Nights later, they did come back. It was the same as the previous visit. They all fell down, praying to the man in black. Goody Bishop came up to my bedside. She said, "I've killed 4 women already."
I heard she named John.
She named the Foster's wives, 2 of them, and John Trask's wife, Christina.
Aye, and the 4th?
She did not name the last.
I have given no consent to the devil. I don't even know what a witch is.
How do you know then that you are not a witch?
Do not follow.
How can you say you are not a witch and yet claim to not know what a witch is?
I am clear. If I were any such person, you would know it.
You may threaten the wife, but you will do no more than your
I am innocent.
Innocent, and yet your spectre is seen by many. More than enough, methinks, to hold you for a formal trial.
Daniel Chapman. my eldest child, who did promise much in understanding both countenance and action, was taken with a very drooping condition. The offer of the good white bishop had come to my house, the worse and worse he became. God help me, I did send my boy. Shortly they returned, and my boy's face was bleeding. They did tell me how when they had arrived, she'd taken up a spade and bid them get out. And then when they were out on the porch, she did run at my boy, screaming, "Now, rogue, what dost thou bring this man here to plague me?" and scratches his face so that it began to bleed. And ever since, he's been taken with the most grievous fits. He lies as if dead. His head and eyes are turned aside as if they'd never come aright. He cannot stand, but he'll fall into whatever is nigh, be it fire or water. By all these circumstances, I cannot but judge that he's evil hand of witchcraft, and a goodly number of doctors have examined it, and is their conclusion as well. And all evidence is pointing, the good white bishop is the cause of it.
Seven Shattuck, your child were a fool long before I scratched his face.
How dare they say such things about my boy?
You are good, strong, and terrible. You coward! That is enough. The accused, it is believed that a witch might not be able to recite the Lord's Prayer without some deprivation or some application to the text, as it would be that the Lord will not suffer a witch to blaspheme in this manner. If it be the will of the assembly,
I can say the prayer.
the good white bishop, we do admonish you to say it correctly.
I will. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, for thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever.
Reverend Hale, we defer to you.
I'm sure I need remind no one here present that our defendant has omitted the phrase, "but deliver us from evil."
I did say it.
You did not.
I'm sure I did.
I must say, I am inclined to commit the defendant to the Salem jail to await a formal trial, whereby her connection with any or all of these charges might be substantiated. Now, seeing someone suspecting is testimony according to John Gall, that he did give for Parliament in 1604. Hear now your recommendation. On this day of April 19th, 1692, before our sovereign Lord and Lady, King William and Queen Mary, and indeed, good folk, before God himself, you, the assembly, have found by a vote of an even 100 to 59 that there is indeed suspicion of the practice of witchcraft, and good white bishop will be held in the Salem jail. Reverend Hale, will you please escort good white bishop to Sheriff Coleman, whereby a formal trial date may be set, we will hear these matters more thoroughly.
Colonel, God will give you blood to drink.
She cursed you.
What will be the issue of these troubles? God himself only knows. I fear that the ages will not wear away the stains that these things shall leave behind upon our land.
You all know that you in fact did vote in accordance with history on June 2nd, 1692. Oh dear. Which bishop was held for a formal trial. 8 days later, on June 10th, she was the first of 19 to be hanged here on charges of witchcraft. So, though you did not free me, I now free you. Enjoy Salem. Thank you. Remember your promise. Good day. I am indeed Elizabeth Poland, and I am no witch. Thank you.
Well, we've come to that part in the show that I know you've been waiting for, because I certainly have, and that is, let's visit Salem on All Hallowed Eve. There's perhaps no better place to be in all of North America on Halloween night than in Salem, Massachusetts. So let's go. Let's start our evening by a walking tour of Old Salem.
Across the street from us, you'll see the old burying point. This is the second oldest graveyard in the country. Now the site says 1637, But actually, it's a lie. Yes, it is. The first burial happened there in 1626.
It's Halloween night. Welcome to Salem, Massachusetts, America's Halloween capital.
We do need to warn you of a couple of things before we bring you into the auditorium.
Happy Halloween!
Can you wave?
Hi, I'm trick-or-treating. Hi.